Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. The door to the diner chimes as you enter. You start walking across to the diner counter, shaking the dust of the road off of you. You put your knapsack on the floor and you sit on a stool. You push the menu away as the cute waitress comes up and says, "Coffee, hon?" "Yes, please," you say. She quickly pours you a cup of steaming hot coffee and puts it in front of you. You reach over for the creamer and sugar. She goes, "You want anything to eat, hon?" "Nah, thank you. I can barely afford this cup of coffee." The cute waitress looks at him, looks over him, and she says, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll buy you lunch if you'll wash dishes for an hour." You say, "That sounds great. Yeah, I'll do that." So like, "Well, what do you want?" He's like, I'll have a club sandwich, no tomato. Tomatoes make me angry." She goes, "Sure thing, coming right up, hon." She makes you a sandwich, club sandwich, no tomato, hands it to you. You sit there, you eat your club sandwich, you have some chips, you have your coffee, then you go and wash dishes for an hour. But it just so happens that the dinner rush is starting to come in. And she asks you, "Could you stay and help out and keep washing dishes? See, our dishwasher quit today, and so I could really use some help." "Okay." She says, "I could pay you minimum wage." "Okay, I can do that." So you stay and work the entire shift, and that evening you're closing up, and she's like, "Wow, you're a really good worker. I'd really like you to, continue working for us." He's like, I don't know, you say. I think I should just keep moving on." She's like, "Look, I got a place out back. It's a little shack. It's got a space heater, a cot, some blankets. You could stay there if you like. Help me out, work for a while until you find something better." Tired and after a long day, you say, okay, I'll do that. So you sit there and you go into this little room, has a sink, little card table, little cot for you to sleep on. You go to sleep, you wake up, and you start washing dishes all the next day again. Cute waitress flirting with you from time to time. It's getting pretty nice, so you figure you might stay around for a couple more days. And you continue working as a dishwasher. And day in, day out, you're making a little bit of money, thinking maybe you can have a normal life once again. And then these two truckers come in. And they start pawing at that cute waitress that you're flirting with. And next thing you remember, next thing you know, you're laying beside a bubbling river with your nothing but your tattered pants on, wondering how the hell you got there. And you start walking, and you know you can't. You don't know where you are. You don't know where you're going. All you know is that you can't go back to where you've been. You wonder what happened to that cute little waitress. Boy, I hope she wasn't hurt. I'd hope I didn't really hurt anybody. And then cue the lonely hitchhiking music. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what it's like, living as the Hulk. And that's basically the summary of every single plot of the old Hulk TV series right there. Pretty good story. It's always a good, metaphor for rage or psychosis. Psychopathy, probably. It's like, oh, people found out that I'm crazy. I got to keep moving. Anyway. Welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, the Madman. We're just going to continue talking about the Hulk in a second. But I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I would appreciate it. I also have a Cash App. You can using hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. You can send me money. I'd appreciate that too. You can follow me on social media over here. Twitter, at Denalitsaw, Shock Monkey Radio Redux on Facebook, and at SLRoberts13 on Instagram. Yeah. So the Hulk, yeah, he's basically the metaphor of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. It's a metaphor for, your temper, anger, and so forth. And so I was thinking about the Hulk, obviously, recently. And I was thinking about how sometimes in the comic books, the Hulk's anger was generalized. Like, Dr. Banner got angry and then just started destroying everything because he was angry. But sometimes in the comic books, his anger was focused. Like, for example, he's mad at, like, Freddie Prinze Jr. is flirting with his wife or something like that. I think that was in the Ultimates. Freddie Prinze Jr. is flirting with his wife, and so he gets mad at Freddie Prinze Jr., and so he turns into Hulk and starts chasing down Freddie Prinze Jr., you know? And so I was wondering what would happen if there was a Hulk, or if there was ever a Hulk story where, you know, Dr. Banner got mad at Republicans, or, you know, or even Trump. You know, say he got mad at Trump, and then all of a sudden the Secret Service is having to fight off this green monster at the White House. Get the President to Air Force One, quickly. As the Hulk's just tearing through the White House, throwing tanks at people, landing in the mall. Vietnam Memorial. But it's not going to be the same. The Vietnam Memorial is not going to be the same. Sorry. Hulk came to town.
And, you know, Hulk smash.
Yeah, and Hulk smash. Hulk smash, and it doesn't really matter. You know, it's interesting. I always like the Hulk because, you know, as a person who deals with anger issues, you know, it's always interesting. I really like the show because it dealt with, you know, this guy's like, he's always real timid. Bill Bixby playing this like timid character. Oh, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get involved in conflict because I'm going to get pissed and I'm going to get lost and I'm going to have to find out where I am again. I'm going to have to make some money.
Get angry.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, you know. And say you did get pissed off at things like tomatoes. Like, it depends on like how the level. Like, for example, me, if I was the Hulk, you know, I could look at tomatoes and not get mad. I could see other people eating tomatoes and not get mad. But if I was like passed out drunk at a party and somebody put a tomato in my mouth and I woke up tasting tomato, yes, then I'll get Hulk smash. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It kind of depends on the threshold of your anger in many ways. You know, imagine if like being the Hulk was like a genetic mutation, you know, and say like we lived in a society where like 10% of the human population got it, where they all there's another traffic jam. It's like 4 or 5 Hulks come and start throwing cars all over the place. Oh, what a nightmarish world it would be if superheroes really existed, wouldn't it? It would be. Anyway, I'm done talking about the Hulk. Let's talk about Iowa. Let's talk about Iowa. Now, I don't want to get too much into the politics just before the news. You know, I don't want to get too much into it. But every single, you know, election season, this question always pops up in the back of my mind, and I have to ask, why is Iowa so important? You know, it's the first of the primaries, you know, and the primaries, I guess they happen, sort of a cursory skimming of a Wikipedia article. From what I understand is that these things happen in every single state. But the order in which that happens, it always happens in the order, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, etc. Like, then there's Super Tuesday and stuff like that. But the point is that every single time we have this election cycle, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, excuse me, Dr. Pepper, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, these states are always like get the most attention when it comes to the political process. And I don't really like that because, you know, over this past month, excuse me, Dr. Pepper, over this past month, you had all these candidates, all these conservative candidates going like all over Iowa, pushing, you know, having conventions and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying I like Vivek Ramaswamy, but it'd be cool if I was like on video next to him, because he's always like trending on TikTok or something like that for some reason. So if I got close enough to him, you know, like shake his hand, it's like, hey, get me on TikTok right next to him, you know, wearing this shirt, you know what I'm saying? And so why couldn't that happen in Virginia? Because it's always happening in Iowa. It's always happening in New Hampshire and South Carolina. They'll go visit those states, sure. But then, you know, later down the line is when Virginia gets, and you really don't get anything. Because at that point, everyone has, you know, made up their mind, and people have already made up their mind about the results of Iowa, about how this is all going to play out. A lot of people have already made up their mind about how it's all going to play out after Iowa. But my question is like, why do these states always get special treatment during the election season? I think it should be a different order. Like, even the draft, you know, for football, you know, it's like they flip it up, you know, they switch it up, you know, out of fairness. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem fair that it's all Iowa is getting all this attention. I know I'm a Virginian, and I'm sitting there. It's like, why do Iowans get so much more attention than us? Why does South Carolina get so much more attention than us? We want some attention too. And North and South Dakota are sitting over there next to each other going, friggin' crybabies. We were the center of attention in the Civil War. We missed all the attention we used to get before the West Coast was populated. Whiny ass Virginia. Shut up, Virginia. You've been making noise for far too long. North and South Dakota be like crybabies. Anyway, I just don't understand why Iowa's so important. Okay. That's what I call the Paul Harvey pause. I want to come out of the gate to apologize to both EK and Fred. You guys know who you are. I want to apologize, but I'm not fussing around. Puns are not punny. They are the blowest form of humor. It is strictly for amateurs. It is trebleic and basic. Anyone can do it. It requires no talent, and it is a crutch for people with no sense of humor, but also understand that humor exists. I am sorry. Any hurt feelings? Any pun you want to make in response? Because usually when this topic comes up, people who use puns are, oh, I got one ready to go. Are you Googling one? Are your feelings just too hurt? There's tissues right there if you want to cry it out. Somebody was talking to me and was like, look, puns are not funny. They're not funny. Anyone can do it. You know, I was thinking about that Letterkenny thing I'm in, where they did this list, where they do a list of, what are they called? Anacronyms, or not anacronyms, alliterations.
Through the alphabet?
Yeah, through the alphabet, of alliterations through the alphabet. And it's like, anyone could sit down and do that. You know, I'm funny in my own way, but I don't need to lean on things like puns. It's ridiculous. And you know, I really sat there for like a week trying to come up with puns, just like talk about this. And it made me sick to my stomach. I was ashamed of myself. I took extra soapy showers. I felt so dirty. Just to come up with those few. Anyway, so I don't want to talk about puns ever again. Ever again. Do you have a snow day?
Yeah.
You had a snow day yesterday? Yeah, me too. You know, snow days are funny because everyone's drunk. You know, I went to the liquor store and I went to go pick up beer. I was like, what am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to get drunk. And you know, the beer is like almost out at the Wawa and so forth. And I went to the liquor store. That was a pretty poppin' joint. A lot of people stopping by there.
Sure.
You know, and I went early. This was like 11:30. I went out, and because I'd shoveled the driveway by like 10, and so I was like, oh, it's funny because you know it's like an inch of snow. All right, and I know it got cold overnight. It got over freezing overnight, and so yes, there were icy conditions for a little while. But after a little bit of sanding, a little bit of road treatment, it's fine. Most things were open. I went out to the liquor store. I went to Wawa, picked up beer. I went to I went through a McDonald's drive-through. The shit was open. You know what I'm talking about? And what I mean is that like everyone's out there with they got their snow blowers, their driveway, and they're drinking beer. Everyone's trashed. You know, and I was thinking about growing up in like Lake Placid, New York, when you get like 3 feet of snow and everything has to shut down, you know. And you'd hear rumors that something was open. Yeah. So Tom's brothers, they said the IGA was open. Get out of here. There's no way that Tommy woke up that early and shoveled his way down to the IGA and opened it up. It's not even 10:30. There's no way he's done that by now. You know? And I wonder, because I was too young to like notice adults being drunk. When you're a kid, you don't really notice until they're like really like fall down drunk. It's like, wow, Uncle Joey's like, he can't stand straight. What's going on with him? Did he spin outside too much? What happened? Was he spinning a lot? Kinda. And so, not just thinking about like, because I was driving home, is like, that liquor store was packed. There was only a few beers left at that Wawa. I'm more in danger of being hit by a drunk driver now than ever. And luckily, like I said, the roads were quite treated, and so it was a fairly nice, snow day, I suppose. But I mean, when you've been around like the world and you've lived in other places besides the place you live in, it seems kind of ridiculous for someone like me who lived in Lake Placid, to see people like cancel school and shit like that over an inch of snow. Yeah, it's gonna freeze overnight. Okay. But when I lived in Lake Placid, New York, it's like, it's under a foot, we're going. Everyone's got chains on their tires year-round anyway. So, I mean, it's kind of funny because I come down here and living here for a while, and then still an inch of snow and you're going to cancel school. I remember when I lived in Georgia, and this is Brunswick, Georgia, close to the Florida border. We got a light dusting. It wouldn't even measure like an inch. It wouldn't even measure. Just a light dusting. And people were going and buying chains from the stores to put on their cars because it's the first snow they'd seen in like 25 or 30 years or something like that. And when we were living in Georgia, we had just moved there from Lake Placid, New York. So it was a big culture shock to see them all shut down. Oh my God, it snowed. And I remember our neighbor said, let's make a snowman. And I was like, what? What? It's going to take us all day and the snow from all of our yards. And it did. And the snowman was like that high. It was not big at all. Like that. Can you see? Like that high. So, I mean, it's kind of funny to me. It's like, shuffling the driveway. It's like you have an argument. It's like, you don't need to shovel the driveway. Your car can go through that little snow. All right? I don't get it. People slip. And it's like, yeah. Even when the weather's perfect and it's a flat surface, people trip. You know what I'm saying? We're imperfect, awkward creatures, and our method of moving around is basically falling and catching yourself. Anyway, snow day. All right. Wow. 218. Caffeine. Like I said, I always watch a bunch of cop body cam videos. And I was thinking about me getting arrested on a body cam video. To the point where, like, I'm kind of like all these other idiots trying to get... I feel like I'm like these other idiots trying to gain internet clout by saying, oh, I have the right to travel. I'm a sovereign citizen. I'm traveling. I'm not driving. Just so I'd get some sort of body cam footage that somebody's going to want a public request of information. So that it's entertaining enough. And so, and I was thinking about the last time I got pulled over. The last time I got pulled over, it was for a taillight out. Cop pulled me over. Says, I pulled you over. You have a taillight out. And I was like, oh, that's a bump. But he comes up and he says, I'm Officer so-and-so. I just want you being audio and video recorded, pointing to his camera. And I got excited. I was like, oh, wow, cool. And I waved like that at him. And he's just like, okay.
Didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do with that. And so he asked me, he's like, I just pulled you over because you have your license registration. I pulled you over because you got your taillight out. And so I gave him the information. He goes, how much have you had to drink tonight? One. He goes, oh, really? I was like, yeah, just one. Okay, because I get the smell of alcohol. Yeah, it's coming from my breath. It's the one beer I had. He's like, okay. So he went and checked my information. Then he comes back with a PBT. I blow into it, and believe me, this is the only time I ever got pulled over by a cop and only had one beer. All right. I blew it. He says, okay, I believe you. You only had one beer. Get that taillight fixed. And he gave me my stuff and left. But I was thinking, man, I look like such a goofball in that body cam footage. I hope it got deleted forever. And so I was thinking maybe if I get arrested at some point, the point is that I would have to do something arrestable, which means like really driving drunk. And I don't want to do that. All right. But I mean, if there was a situation where I got arrested, assuming, I don't know, I was shoplifting from Walmart. That's another popular thing that happens in these body cam videos. A lot of people shoplifting from Walmart. And so, and then I get arrested, I would sit there and I would be constantly thinking about these cameras. I was like, the body cam footage is, after all this is done, I could request this information, put it all up on my YouTube channel. And you know what? Everyone in the world is thinking that as well. All right. And that's a scary thought. Anyway, continuing with my point, it's like, I would know those cameras are there, so I might want to put on a performance. It's like, oh, you arrested me? Do you know who you're arresting? You don't know who I am. You know who I am? I'm the madman. I'm the madman from shockmonkeyradio. Yeah, check me out on YouTube. Put my hands behind my back, pretend like I'm praying. Okay, I'm praying I don't get arrested. Ha ha ha. I'm the madman. Go have a Patreon, patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Woo, I'm a crazy monkey. I'm the madman. And they're like, what is wrong with you? I want internet clout. I want to be famous. I want a bunch of people to subscribe to my channel. How do I request this information? How do I get the body cam footage? Can you tell me how to do that? Is that going to be on the paperwork? You could tell me after the prison? Arrest me. Hey, man, have I told you about horses? Let me tell you, officer, you are wasting your time. You got the wrong person. You have the wrong person. You need to be going after these horses. Let me tell you about these horses. Next thing you know, it's like the end of the body camera footage. They're putting me into the prison. It's like, this guy's been going on and on about horses' feet, his favorite scenes where horses, died in movies. What kind of person? What's wrong with you? I'm the madman. That's what's wrong with me. Join you. Just like, share, and subscribe. Dancing like a goofy monkey. How do I get this body cam footage? It's almost to the point where I think that the state should say, no, we're not giving you that shit. You were clearly acting up for the cameras. And I think that, no, we should destroy that footage because you're just an idiot trying to, that is a drain on, the resources of the taxpayers. You know what I'm saying? Just because you want a cool video, just because a lot of people like me are sitting there watching body cam videos and you want that hashtag body cam video. So you can get internet clout. And I think this is this, I don't know, it's a very human feeling if I'm feeling it. But maybe that's a problem in our society today, is that because these law enforcement officers are wearing these cameras, and it's caused this amping up of misbehavior when it comes to people being arrested. Because I know if and when I get arrested ever, I've never been arrested. If that ever happens, I'm going to act the fool. And so, I don't know. I guess this is an argument against body cameras. I don't know. Because some of these people you see in these body cam videos, they just need a good solid beating sometimes. You know what I mean? I don't want to say that violence solves everything, but it solves a lot of things. Anyway. I'll talk about one more thing before we get into the news, and that's a movie I saw this week. You were waiting, right? You were waiting. It's like, oh, is he not going to talk about a movie today? I did see a movie. It's called Higher Power. Now, obviously, with a title like that, there's an allusion, or it's an allegory to God. An allegory to God. And there's plenty of, allusions, allegories, I forget which one, to God in this movie. It stars that guy, and you're like, oh, he played that dumb guy in that movie. And you'd be right. Let me look it up. I should have pulled this up earlier. All right, so Ron Eldard. He was that dumb guy in that movie. He's like, yeah. All right, let's see. What has he been in? Ghost Ship, House of Sand and Fog, Higher Power, Sleepers. Yeah. I can't. Nothing good, looks like. And he was in Super 8. I think, yeah, he was in Super 8. Son of a Woman. Ooh-ah, Phone Booth. Yeah, so he's been in a few things. But he's clearly not a lead actor. No offense, Ron. No offense. And so basically the plot is that he's a security guard for this pharmaceutical company, and it's doing this crazy experiment where they can latch onto your optic nerves and put sensors in your body and I don't know, unleash the magical energies within you, but they're looking for the perfect person who has the right genetic code that would make this stuff work, and they find it in this security guard. And he goes full-blown Akira. I mean, what happens is slowly he starts expelling energy. And I mean, when I mean blowing up, explosion, this huge mass of electromagnetic energy just And it's a very interesting lesson in OP when you make a character OP. It's in many ways it's like there could never be a higher power too because of where they went with it, and so and so well, I lost my train of thought. That's a train coming to stop right there. And so he seriously just starts. It's a lesson in overpowered. It's like why you can't have Superman stories because you have to invent kryptonite to cause him a problem, and he just becomes overpowered. And even when you think it's like there's no way he can get more powerful, he gets more powerful. You know what I mean? So it's and it goes a little overboard in terms of how powerful he becomes. Additionally, it's also an interesting like metaphor for these like organizations that are trying to like unlock the biological nature of humanity, like how overconfident they are in like being able to control something like this. It's almost like the Hulk metaphor in many ways, where I was like, oh, maybe we could harness this power for good, and he's just super mad at Freddie Prinze Jr. And so it's interesting because there's this what's it like a unknown like lurking threat. Well, it's kind of semi-known lurking threat. It's kind of in the background of the story in many ways, and it almost seems fated that he goes through this process and becomes this thing because of this lurking threat. It's kind of an interesting way to do the story. However, there was way too much illusions, allegories. About like God and that of being God and so forth, and I don't like stuff like that generally. I remember when I read The Watchmen, and the thing I hate most about Alan Moore is his nihilism, because he made this character Dr. Manhattan, and he's like a godlike creature in many ways, and so but the way Alan Moore wrote it is that he's becoming more and more disconnected from humanity. He doesn't think about them, doesn't even care about them, and so forth. And for the sake of that character, that was helpful to the plot. But at the same time, it's almost kind of like Alan Moore's idea of what God would be. That God doesn't intervene in human affairs because he doesn't care. And I don't think that's the case at all. And so that's what I don't like is the nihilism of it and the fact of humans attaining a godlike ability. I don't think that's a thing. And I know it's just a sci-fi movie. It's a superhero kind of movie. But I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff I didn't like about it. And even though a lot of the visual effects were really cool, it was a kind of an interesting story as well. But it was a bunch of like... It's to the point where it's like, well, 800 cities just blew up. It can't get more destructive than this, right? No, it does. It will surprise you. It's like you think, well, I probably just ruined it for you if you're going to see it, but you think it's going to go, they can't go any further than this, right? No, they do. Anyway, so Higher Power 2018, 7 of 13 stars. Could have been cast better. There's things I would change about the plot, but I mean I don't know, like that's like me reading these news stories and trying to edit them. So who's interested in that, really? Anyway, Higher Power, you can see it if you want. I don't care. Let's get into the news worth knowing. All right, so Senator Ted Cruz enthusiastically endorses Donald Trump for president. This race is over, quote unquote. So, Ted Cruz endorsed Donald Trump for president Tuesday night, called for the country to unify behind the Republican frontrunner. I am proud to endorse Donald Trump for president of the United States, Cruz said on Hannity. I look forward to supporting him enthusiastically. Cruz, who fiercely battled Trump in the 2016 primaries, argued that the results of the Iowa caucuses showed that there's only one viable Republican nominee. Quote, Iowa was a dominating victory for Donald Trump. I've got to say there's no place like the Iowa caucuses. I know it intimately. The men and women of Iowa, they take their responsibility incredibly seriously. They scrutinize the candidates. But why is it always got to be Iowa? I say. Virginia wants some attention. It's an amazing process. I'm a big believer in letting democracy play out. Well, last night it played out, and I got to say Trump's victory was across the board. Congratulations to President Trump on that dominating victory, Cruz said. At this point, I believe this race is over. And Trump earned 51% of the votes of the Iowa caucuses on Monday, claiming a 30-point victory over Ron DeSantis, slightly secured second place over Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley thinks she still got a shot. That's funny. Texas Senator said that Trump's landslide victory in Iowa caucuses showed that the former president's candidacy is compelling. I'm a big believer that we need to let the process play out, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So Ted Cruz, once an enemy of Donald Trump. What do you call Lion Ted Cruz or something like that? Anyway, so I don't know. But you figure this had to be worked out ahead of time. Like Donald Trump had to, or even Senator Cruz had to get in touch with one another and say, like, maybe a week ago, before the Iowa caucuses, is like, you win the Iowa caucuses, then I'll endorse you publicly. And that's a big deal. You know, Senator Ted Cruz, he's got a lot of sway for a lot of Republicans. There's a lot of questions about, like, how quickly the news media called Iowa for Trump. So people who are still voting were probably going to be like, well, I'm not going to vote for somebody who's already lost. And so there's some questions about that. And I'm still hung up on why does Iowa get so much attention? I want some attention. So it looks like it. If you were a betting person, you should put your money on Trump being the nominee. But I mean, you got to ask yourself, is like that's something, because the whole media announced that Trump was going to be, like, after 1% or 2% of the votes were counted, they called it for Trump, which is amazing that the whole media did that. You know, and so you got to ask yourself, I mean, even if you like Trump, even if you want to support him, you got to ask yourself, is like, why is the media so eager to get Trump on the ballot? Is it because they know they can certainly beat him? Or is it just simply that they've beaten him once, so they think they can do it again? Or is it something like I can't imagine they'd still have something on them they wouldn't have used by now. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just wary when they want Trump to win. They want Trump to be the nominee. It makes me a little nervous. And so I guess the only thing that I could think of that makes sense is that Trump brings clicks. Trump drives their market. They make money on advertising when they have articles about Trump in the news every day. And get either, it's like Howard Stern back in the day. It's like everyone who hated him or liked him, they kept listening. It was like, why? Because, yeah. And so it drew in the ad dollars. It drew in the ad revenue. It drew clicks. So that's the only thing that I can think of that makes any sense. So anyway, we'll see how it all plays out. It's this early. Everyone's still calling it. All right, so let's go to this next one. This is an interesting story. Supreme Court prepares to decide major case over power of federal administrative state. What? I got to sign in to see this? We have to skip it. How do I sign in? Can I sign in from here? You jerks. You see, I have an account with them. I wonder if they're like watching right now. It's like, you can't read our articles. Screw you too. I can't find a login. Oh, here we go, maybe. This stinks. Yeah, it's an interesting story. I'm sorry for taking the technical difficulties. Yeah, Fox is pissed, I guess. They're mad at me. You're reading our articles. I already have an account. Check your inbox. Jeez Louise. This is exciting. This is good stuff. You'd think... anyway, we'll skip it. You see, I got the laptop fixed, and I haven't, re-signed in with my Fox account. So let's see if any of these other articles are dead links for me. Yeah, but that story was about a bunch of fishermen. The government's telling them how many fish they can catch and the weights and stuff like that. And it's like, why are they doing this? That's a good question. I always wondered, why do you got to have a fishing license to go fishing? That's ridiculous. All right, yep, I got to sign in. Shit. All right. Just blocking them all now. I think they found out about my show. Huh. Why? Oh, I see. I gave them the wrong email address. That's the problem. Hell. This is real exciting, I know. We may have to end the show early. That blows. Log in. Let's see here. Let's see if I can do it now. Do you have a snow day? I had a snow day. It stinks. It's not even like enough to sled with. Yep, I sent them the wrong email. Okay, wrong email. Let's give them the right one. How many email addresses you got? All right. There we go. Signed into Fox News. Boom. See, I don't mind. I don't mind signing in because, where do you get your news? You get it from one place? Because, I'll get the news from like one place. But I will. I'll hear lots of people's takes on the same story from different angles. So I like that. I like that. All right, now let's see if I can pull up this one. Supreme Court. Boom. Assuming I'm still logged in. Dang it. Nope. Wonderful. All right, let's see. Oh, success. Now I'm logged into Fox. I'm sorry about all this delay. This is my fault. I'm signed in. Why is it doing this? All right. All right, I guess I'm just going to have to look through some stories here. All right, let's see if I can find one. All right. Yep. Bank overdraft, please. This is awful. I may have to start using it in different news sources. Might have to use a different news source. Okay. Yep, this is awful. Well, I think we're just going to end the show early. Or I could just read the headlines of the stuff. See what I can remember from the articles. All right. Yeah, Pennsylvania boy. I'm reading headlines. Just headlines. The ball's on this kid. Pennsylvania boy fatally shoots dad, saving his family from violent armed rampage, said the authorities. Now, from what I remember this story, this kid, minor, his dad was like armed, banging on the door of his like stepmom's house or something. Shoots somebody through the door. I'm so glad I have so much information for you. Shoots somebody through the door, and the boy ends up shooting his dad as he comes in, saying he's going to kill everybody else. So, the ball's on that kid. All right. Biden climate czar John Kerry snaps when confronted about his carbon footprint. I understand, I don't care about my carbon footprint or his carbon footprint, but it's holding people to account on their own stuff, on their own BS is kind of important. I think that's interesting. That's a good one. All right. All right. And then I had two last stories. This is awful. I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Two last stories were TikTok user was frustrated by blasting music in the wee hours of a Chick-Fil-A restaurant. So she lives across the street on the 4-lane highway, across the street from this Chick-fil-A. And at night, they start blaring music from the external speakers at the Chick-fil-A. And so she kept doing TikTok tagging Chick-fil-A, says, "What the hell are you doing?" And she had to keep going back to the manager. She kept going to the restaurant. She kept going to the corporate. It's just a back and forth. And it's just so ridiculous. It's like, who's coming in there at night and putting all the music on all the speakers? Anyway, it's a nutty world. Nutty, nutty world. And this last one. All right. So, for some reason, this one came up. Will this one come up? Yep. Woman expressed repeated blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah. Sir. Okay, yeah, we'll do the Chick-fil-A one. A woman expressed her repeated frustration on social media with a well-known fast food chain after she said she'd lost hours of sleep when someone at the establishment blasted music from outdoor speakers. Nicole Smith, a marketing director in Charlotte, North Carolina, claimed that the loud music blaring from the Chick-fil-A across the street from her apartment kept her awake in the middle of the night. Smith shared her ongoing issues on TikTok, noting she lives on a 4-lane road across from the establishment. It's 4 a.m. and I cannot, this is a quote, it's 4 a.m. and I cannot sleep because your establishment is blasting music outside so loud, she said on her December 5th video while calling out the fast food chain. She continued, keep in mind I live across 4 lanes from which your outside speakers are allowing sound to travel to my bedroom. She lives in a 3-story complex. All I can think is the fact that I've lost 5-6 hours of sleep at this point because you will not turn your music down, she continued on the video. Smith said in the video that she called the restaurant at least 2 times prior to the instance, asking for the folks at Chick-fil-A to turn down the music. They said they did not. She said they did not turn down the music for a while. Then it kicked back up. No, they did turn down the music for a while, but then it kicked back up in a high volume. Last time this happened, I thought it was so crazy. I was literally hearing things. She posted another video on TikTok on December 12th, revealing that she spoke to someone at Chick-fil-A the day before who guaranteed the music was off. She decided to drive across the street the next night. She found the music to be on and very loud. She said she'd spoken to someone in the past about the purpose of the loud music at night. The person claimed it was to keep individuals off their patio. Maybe there's like homeless people that hang around there. A spokesperson for Chick-fil-A, however, denied the claim, telling Fox News Digital on Thursday the statement is simply not true. It's something the company would never do. So on December 13th, Smith walked in Chick-fil-A location with her video from the night before of the loud music, and she asked to speak to the manager, the same one she spoke to before. Smith said the manager's first reaction was, "Oh my gosh, that seems fake," before backtracking to explain himself. He tries to pull it back, and he's like, "No, I don't mean you faked it, but it's so loud that it seems edited." He said in the TikTok video. She assured him it was a raw video and she did not manipulate it. Told her that it was crawling. The manager told her that he recalled turning the volume knob down weeks prior. Jeepers. They too proceeded to go outside and listen to the speakers during daytime. Smith said the music coming from the speakers wasn't nearly as loud as it has been in the middle of the night. So there's somebody who's coming in at night and turning on this thing. I guess the question is, what kind of music was it? That matters, I think. It's like it's Sultans of Swing over and over and over and over and over again. Then I would understand, like, Chick-fil-A, what are you doing? All right, so let's do this last story, then embarrassedly get out of here for the day. You got to do something about this news stuff. Anyway, Texas wife goes viral for creating a bingo card to match her husband's reactions to the Cowboys games. Texas wife has garnered millions of reactions on TikTok after she made a bingo card that included her husband's reactions as he watched Dallas Cowboys games in real time. Mackenzie Waters told Fox 4 Dallas that she's been watching football games with her husband, Justin Waters, for more than half a decade, and his reactions have always been the same. Plus, it's football, and it's incredibly boring, so I have to do something to entertain my mind. She said her husband often shouts, "Let's go, get him, and why?" when his beloved Cowboys play. Her husband also tends to clap slowly, pretend to wave a flag, cover his face. Bingo squares that Mackenzie Waters fills out match her husband's quirky and consistent reactions during the game. Let me see if there's anything interesting. Hands out confused. Get him. Quiet clap. Let's see. Watches from the side. Goes in bedroom. What? And he storms out of the room and goes in his bedroom. Let's see. What air? I can't read some of them. Too fuzzy. On the videos posted to TikTok, Justin Waters has been seen reacted to plays, and without skipping a beat, his wife fills in the appropriate squares matching his quirky gesture or emotion. One of the videos garnered 4.5 million likes and 25 million views. Most exciting game of bingo I've ever seen, one TikTok user wrote. Mackenzie Waters told Fox News Digital this Wednesday evening, "I've been watching Cowboys games with my husband for 7 years now, and I thought it'd be funny to show everyone his crazy reactions while he's watching. and show how well I know him. It's funny that you think that. I think it's funny that you think that no one has ever seen a fan of a football team before. And that you think your husband's reactions to this is interesting or noteworthy. But who am I to say? I don't have 25 million views on anything. What the hell am I talking about? Anyway, so she added, it's been so exciting going viral. We got to be on our local news station. I did a radio interview for the first time. And we've had several articles written about it. It's been so fun the past few days. Someone give this woman a raise. Person on TikTok comment. Finally a way I can participate in all the fun. People don't get paid for hanging out with their husband watching football. I just thought it was funny to show everybody the silly things that he does during the games. The videos were no surprise to Justin Waters. He told the station. We had talked about it before, just about how predictable I am, he said. We thought it would be a funny idea if we pieced it together just to see how well she actually knew me. Justin Waters, who works as a high school teacher, has been the butt of some jokes about the viral videos. I get made fun of every day, he said. His wife has no intention of putting down her camera during football games, though. We're parents, we're teachers, Mackenzie Waters said. So in the time that we do have, we'll keep making TikToks. Ew. That last sentence, ew. Bad touched me. So in the time that we do have, we'll keep making TikToks. I don't know. I guess it's no more silly than me saying, with the time I do have, I'll still be making YouTube videos. You know? I don't know. I'm starting to dislike myself all of a sudden. I don't know what it is. Does that ever happen to you?
All the time.
All the time? Well, I'm sorry about what happened with the news, folks. I wonder if, I don't know, because now it said I logged in, it's going to, like, stay logged in. No, see, like these articles. I think it's the links. You're getting behind the scenes stuff like that. Hey, it's not easy, folks, putting on a show. It's not easy. And I think maybe Fox out. I'm reading articles. There are articles. Write your own news article. And I was like, well, but you already did. Poorly. And I really do like making fun of your bad writing. I wonder if that's what happened. It's like some Fox writer heard me saying, he says I write horribly. I'm gonna talk to somebody. He shouldn't be reading my articles. Anyway, so this is going to be the end of the show. Sorry it's early. I may actually have to start writing my own news articles, which is a nightmare. I want to remind you again that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I would appreciate that. I also have a cash tag. On the Cash App, use hashtag shockmonkeyradio. All one word. You can also follow me on social media over here. On Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and I love you.